Do not. It won't work.
Okay, this is about the major considerations. Now, what are the major considerations? There are 5 of them. Who knows what they are? Let's go. Go ahead.
Money, God, there are other two in between, loyalty.
What do men and women think about all the time? Sex?
Sex, money, God.
Love, loyalty, God. Oh gosh.
You said loyalty. That's it. That's
You really?
Loyalty, yes. But there is one more, I don't remember.
You're really trying to get them right this time, huh?
What time is it now?
Greg's trying to help you.
Time, yes, time.
Good.
Bravo, Greg.
Yep, sex, money, time, loyalty, and God. Those are the 5 major considerations. There are many other considerations, but these are the major ones.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea, of course, is to not have any considerations.
Yes.
Which is extremely, you have to be extremely well and very high on the scale of interests not to have any considerations. So,
when I took a dance class on Sunday, it was an open house, and the thing for me is, it's really, I got so humble and so aware, nothing existed other than just what I was doing.
Wow.
And I had all the time in the world. It didn't matter what age I was, how my body was, whether I was sexy or not, what people thought of me, how much money, anything. It was just, it's really liberating.
You had a moment of wellness.
For some hours, it really affected me the whole day, and it's carried on.
Well, that seems like taking a dance class is good for you.
Yeah, except I sprained my ankle.
You didn't take that into consideration.
Really?
I didn't take time into consideration that I was 40 years older than everybody else in the class.
Well, okay. So with that being said, everybody test, do I have any considerations that I could work on right now, and see what you get and say yes or no.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So then everybody test through the considerations to see which one you should work on now, and then I will call on somebody. So go ahead and test which one you should work on.
Where are they again, the 5% ones? On the which lesson is it?
Time.
Skill 11.
Oh, shoot, what I ought to do just to simplify this, maybe I'll just tweet this page right now.
You did earlier.
I know, but that was days ago, so...
That was on October 27th. You can look at the tweet.
Yeah, I'll just tweet it right now. Here we go. All right, away it goes. So now you can look at it right there. It's the top thing on the A list in your Twitter feed. So if you don't already have the page, if you haven't previously looked at it, you can just go there and you can click on the link. It's there now.
Okay.
Okay.
There it is. Just showed up for me.
Okay, but you don't actually need the page. You could just You could just go through the considerations and test which one it would be good to work on. And anyway, Barb, did you get one yet?
Yep, we got
Which one's yours?
loyalty and time. Loyalty and time, money, but some reason I got loyalty.
Yeah, well, loyalty is probably your major consideration, knowing you for 30 years, you know?
Uh-huh.
I could say that. So, test this question, Barb. Can I remove this consideration directly?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so let's start with that. Okay, I'm now removing loyalty as a consideration. And you don't have to say from all my bodies, because, you know, it's just coming from you. That's an interesting noise.
Yeah.
So take it out. Tell me when you get a signal.
Okay.
All right. Now, can you tell me, like, a story about when this consideration affected you? Think of a time when this consideration affected
sometimes it happens in relationships. Like, I had this idea that I had this person, you know, I remember Nikki, that I was like, who was like the love of the person I was supposed to be with and stuff. And then when other people come along, then I'll start thinking about this person who I haven't seen in like 20 years or something. And it gets in the way of me being in a moment with whoever.
Okay, test. Did I cure that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now is there a difference in you at this moment from a few minutes ago?
Yeah, I feel more like just in the present and able to just be like having no past, you know, and no future, just being just making choices in the present based on nothing, you know, on limitlessness, being more unlimited.
So you're actually, instead of, okay, let's backtrack a little bit. This is good that you said this, because it gives us an understanding of this, the illness. It's an illness, you know. When you have a consideration, you can't actually exist in reality. You're not in reality. You're in the reality of some reality that you're making up of the consideration. And so you were trying to characterize it like you were saying you're in the past, and
yeah, I'll make a choice based on something that I don't even really know is real. By being loyal to some idea or some dream.
Well, it's ringing a bell for me, because I'm just, you know, kind of remembering how I would, you know, be true to something that I used to think about with Chrissy, for example.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't want to be, I couldn't really make a decision about anything that was happening now, you know, to that extent. Like it actually interfered with me making movies for years.
Why that?
Chrissy stole my camera.
Oh.
And I spent like years pretending I didn't need another one. Because I had this consideration of loyalty to her that, you know, if she took the camera, it must have been because I didn't need it, and I didn't want to invalidate that, you know, and just treat it as a theft, you know.
It's good. Yeah.
So let me test it. I just see what I'm testing is I just cured something just now with that awakening.
Yeah, that's the thing. I have like agreements I think I've made with people or myself that I've been loyal to but they're not really based on reality.
Well, Let's test, are agreements with negative entities partially enabled by considerations?
Negative.
Considerations.
Do agreements with negative entities cause considerations?
Yeah, I'm gonna yes. I'm not sure if I totally understand what a negative energy is, but yeah.
I don't know what one is either, actually. It's something we tested a long time ago, and there's a lesson on it.
The first thing I think about is things that come through, like drugs or alcohol, or like disembodied people or whatever. But,
Well, test, are negative entities those things?
I got yes, it can be.
Okay, so that's one example then.
Okay.
See, the nice thing about all this is that most of it, you can just get it by testing, which is why our write-ups in the lessons are so brief.
Yeah.
You know, here's a fun thing to do with this lesson, though, by the way, because this is part of the lesson, Barb. What are all those noises in there? Greg, is that you?
No. No, I think it's just right near the microphone. Maybe it's the cat by the microphone on Rosella.
She's not on my mic.
Yeah, it's your.
She got offended because she jumped.
Knew you were talking about her, right?
No.
That's right. She's so smart.
Cats are so smart. My God.
I know. It's amazing.
They're amazing.
I know.
Okay. Think of an outrageous action that you could take, Barb.
Huh. The first thing that came to mind was like flying somewhere, going somewhere far away. But then the next thing I thought of was like, making a movie about something, doing something more outrageous around working with people.
Well, let me ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, when we were speaking to, I spoke with Anna, and you were there,
Mm-hmm.
and it was sort of like you were speaking with her too, because she felt your presence and
Mm-hmm.
knew whether she knew you would say something if something was off.
Uh-huh.
And Test, was that an outrageous action?
Yeah, actually I felt that way afterwards too, that I was just, that I manifested you saying what you said and I didn't intervene, yeah.
And did you gain something in terms of any of these considerations? Like, did you gain something in time
I feel more free. I don't feel so stuck, and I feel more like I have choices.
So you actually cured some of the considerations by that action.
Yes.
And you agreed to do that before we did it, so it was actually your action that you took.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I did most of the talking. And did you lose anything in terms of any of the considerations? Like, did any of them get more solid or stronger? So you get no on that?
Yeah, I got no, actually. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, good. So we did well in our little chat.
Yeah.
Well, we just have to remember that we don't take actions anyway. We that wasn't an action; it was an activity.
And we were just doing our activities.
Well, it was. We were talking. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's more than that. You could say other words like trusting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was. You were saying things that were not said.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was a lot of it. Greg was saying things that were not said was a lot of it. Okay, well, let me go to Michael. And now, Michael, what do you make of this now that you've been listening to Barb do this?
Well, at first I didn't understand what considerations were, but now I'm getting a better understanding of the concept.
And what is that understanding? Put it into words if you can.
It's an area where there's some dysfunction or blockage, which is getting in the way of being healthy and getting in the way of achieving what we want to achieve in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I want to go back to an earlier part of a dialogue we had on Twitter and see if maybe we can relate it to the considerations, which I'm not totally sure we can, but you wrote a little note and you said, I know I'm desperate when I post for a date on Facebook, remember? And we had this long interaction about it.
I thought it was good.
Now, and you were saying, well, you were putting forth all these examples of things that could be dysfunctional, like eating frozen salmon or whatever. And it seemed to me there was a misunderstanding because, see, I never said that it was dysfunctional to post for a date on Facebook. What I said was when you see a symptom like that, you're supposed to try to cure it, and you assumed the symptom was posting on Facebook, but actually the symptom was desperation. Like desperation is an immune dysfunction. And then you started talking about how paying $5 a gallon for gas when you're in the desert and there's no other gas station, is that a dysfunction? But see, you don't necessarily have to be desperate to do any of the things you named. You could just do them without being desperate.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Like I can pay $100 a gallon for gas. It doesn't mean I'm desperate. It just means I think the gas is worth $100 a gallon at that point, So I'm willing to pay it. So, did you ever test whether that particular thing was a symptom, desperation, I mean, and or test now for it?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I understand the distinction you're making.
Well, just see if you get a signal.
Yeah, I'm getting a signal that at the time that I made the post on Facebook, I was experiencing a sense of desperation, and that's what's relevant. The post is irrelevant.
Right.
I got that. Yes, you're right, and I got a signal on that.
Yeah, you could cure the desperation and leave the post there, and get the date and and whatever.
Yeah, I'm testing that I was feeling frustrated and I don't know if desperation is quite the word, but it's more like a feeling of futility and a little bit of anger and kind of like giving up, like, okay, I give up, so now I'm just going to do a post on Facebook because I got nothing else to do. But the experience, the feeling is what's relevant here, and I'm testing yes on that.
Okay. Now, Barb, go on mute, Barb.
Okay.
And also lower your camera.
Okay, I find the mute button in the phone here for you.
Okay. So see that, to just go back to what the Twitter feed is about, when you post on Twitter, on this particular list, it's called the A list. And it's the A list because everybody on the list is curing stuff. And so when people post something like that, to all of us, it's an obvious cry for help, like, I'm desperate, like, what do I do? And, I noticed people wrote back and they said, go to the hub, test for things. Maybe that do you find it difficult to find what you need when you test through the hub to try to get your, get the thing that's going to cure you? Do you try it?
I have a lot of resistance to that.
Why do you resist testing through the hub?
I'm sorry?
Why do you resist testing through the hub?
Because I don't like to do things alone, like reading and figuring stuff out. There's I'm testing that I have like how do I explain it? There's like a certain.
I understand. A lot of people.
I have resentment to doing that. Like it's like I resent doing that.
You don't like doing things alone, and you resent it because it's like there's somebody out there. Test this question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there somebody out there who owes it to me to help me with this? Living or dead, you have to add, I think.
Who owes it to me?
Yeah, who's supposed to be helping me, who owes it, that's right, who, is like made a promise to me, that I could count on them to, whatever.
No, I don't. I get a no on that, but what I'm testing yes on. I feel that I have a right to more personal interaction than I'm getting, and so what the resentment is if what I'm needing is more connection with people.
Yeah.
Which is what the cry for help was. If there was a cry for help, and I'm testing that yes, there was in that statement I made about Facebook.
Right.
If what I'm asking for is more interaction with people, then and what I'm being told is, well, you don't get any more interaction with people. What you need to do is go by yourself to the hub and read something. Then I resist that because I feel like you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
That's what it is.
I do. And who comes to mind when you think that you should have like that? There's somebody who owes you more personal interaction. Who comes to your mind? And test that person, and then go from person to person and test some people who are like that.
No. So the question again is, who owes me more personal?
Who are the people? Who should be interacting with you? Who is it who should be interacting with you? Like, who pops into your mind? Living or dead?
The thing is that what pops in my mind is someone who blocked me from interacting.
Okay, who's that? Who blocked?
My mother.
Okay, so test, is it my mother who I am resenting and feeling as though she should come and do this with me?
I'm resenting my mother for blocking me from the interactions that I wanted.
Okay, we'll test this. Just test this.
That I want, yeah.
Test this question.
Yeah.
Am I feeling like my mother owes it to me? Do you get a signal on that?
Yeah, owes what did you say? Yeah, owes what to me?
The interaction.
I don't want interaction with my mother. I want my mother to stop. I want my mother out of my interactions.
Okay, listen. You know what? You just
and she owes that to me. Yeah.
You just need to test. See if you get a signal. Because we're not asking your mind here. This isn't about you trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Oh, you get a yes on it?
I'm getting a yes that I want my mother out of my way.
Okay.
I want her to, I'm getting a yes on that.
I want everybody to test this question, and I'm going to word this very exactly. Does Michael feel his mother owes him interaction? Everybody test.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess yes.
Michael, what do you get?
I'm getting yes. I'm getting yes.
Yes to both.
Okay, so see, that's the thing that you need to know. The thing you need to know is not what you're trying to think or figure out, but what comes from this higher intelligence that isn't you. Because, see, all you've been able to do with your intelligence is make yourself sick. So what you've got now is you have this guide, this higher intelligence that's helping you cure this shit. That's the same thing that cured my herpes, which is a medically incurable disease.
Right.
So, that to me, that gives it a lot of credentials, that I got my herpes erased. And that Barb got a negative medical test on it, and that I watched somebody cure cancer with this. So you could certainly cure this thing with your mother. And actually, why don't we test this? Michael, just you test this. Have I cured this or some of it? Just now.
Have I what?
Have I cured the... Barb, go on mute.
Okay.
Have I cured this or some of it? Just now.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just from, sometimes just from getting a signal or just knowing something, things, shit disappears, Yes.
Also,
when you cure one thing, you cure a lot of other things. But let's ask another question. Everybody should test this. Does this have anything to do with the major considerations?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Michael, what do you get?
Does this issue that I have anything to do with one of the major considerations?
Yeah, thinking that your mother owes you interaction, does that have anything to do with any of the major considerations?
Yes.
I got a little testing trick to show you.
Yes.
First we have to get which one it is. So, test through them. Is it sex, money, time, loyalty, or God?
Well, so at least it could be more than one, right?
It could, but why don't we just try with one, and I'll show you a trick. Tell me which one it is first.
Sex.
Okay, so sex. All right. Now, test this question. You want to find out if it's your sex or her sex, so ask first, is it my sex? And I don't mean your sex, you are like whether you're male or female. I mean, your sexual activity or a sex that you own. Okay? So is it my sex? And then if no, is it her sex?
I don't quite get.
You don't have to get it, but after you see if you get a signal on it, then you can learn more about how it works, okay? So is it my sex? You got to know on that, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is it her sex?
I'm getting yes, but I don't know why.
Okay. The reason it is that it's her problem. Get it? what's happening is
Yes.
you're taking on her problem.
Yes.
So, and you said it could be more than one. What was the other one?
I got a yes on loyalty.
Yeah, because loyalty, this is one of the things that consideration causes people to do, is take on other people's problems. And I am starting to get a feeling that maybe you take on other people's problems and this becomes a big problem to you. So Tess, is that happening in my life?
Yes.
And one thing I just to point out to you, you know how you keep saying people are always failing and bagging out and not coming through, and they do all this negative stuff, and it really bothers you? It's their problem. See, those are when they don't come through, that's their problem. But you're getting all bothered by it. You know, you can't just feel sorry for them and move on, you know?
Right.
For whatever reason, I don't know why, but so we're learning all kinds of things, huh?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, the common thread here is that whether it be my mother who I thought interfered with my life or was overly engulfing, or whether it be people that I feel don't come through for me, I allow those people's issues to overtake my life.
Look, you were like trying to be your mother's mother. You know? Like, your mother was like this huge screw-up. And you were trying to be her mother.
Perfect.
And
I was, or I am. I was, and I am.
well, I don't know. Tess, am I trying to be my mother's mother now?
And I'm getting a yes.
Oops, well, I was hoping that you'd get a no and that you'd cured it. That was what I was hoping for.
Without a no, how would I have to cure it?
What'd you say?
If I got a no, then why would I have to cure it?
Well, I was hoping that you'd cured it a minute ago when you were accessing this, but okay,
Oh, I see.
well, here, just
Can I say something, Tom?
yeah, go ahead.
Because the backside of this kind of trying to be your mother's mother is that you're looking for someone that you don't have to be that with. And if you're taking on other people's problems, then you are doing the same thing. You get it?
I don't get it. I didn't understand.
If Michael's trying to get what he used to try to get, be his mother's mother, he will be looking for someone now that he does not have to do that with.
Right.
It will be his mother. Instead of him trying to take care of her, the other person will be an adult and be there.
Oh, I see. You're saying that. Well, test, Michael. Am I looking for my mother or a mother in some of the women I'm with?
A more perfect mother.
Am I looking for a more perfect mother in?
A woman that you can relate to.
Am I looking for a more perfect mother in women?
When I'm casting yes on every woman I meet, I size her up whether she's like my mother or not. Like my mother's present in my assessment of women that I meet, and so I would be reactive to my mother.
Well then, okay,
Right.
okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Gee, Franny, that was pretty insightful. I'm
So
impressed.
that doesn't mean that I want to be with women that are like my mother, but it means that I'm reactive to women.
No, it means.
Well, that's the problem is that no matter how the woman is, you're probably going to expect her to be like your mother, and therefore.
Wait. You know, I actually what I think is that I want to say what you're saying, Franny, but in a slightly different way. That
Sure.
you could test, do I like examine women looking for little like ways that they're like my mother's that cause me to reject them? Like
You're asking me?
yeah, you'll find you'll just find the slightest parallel between your mother and this woman, and recoil in horror.
I mean, you're going to be disappointed, Michael. That's
the right word is disappointment. So test for that, Michael.
Yeah, I'm testing, yes.
All right. Test, have I cured any of it?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm curing it as we speak.
Okay. I have a pro-action for you. The pro-action. Try to get a signal on this. Say, I forgive my mother. Let's see if you can get a signal on it.
I get a yes.
Okay, good. That will cure you if you do that enough.
Yeah.
Boy, this is hitting very close to home for me. I think, Franny, maybe knowing me helped you a little bit in understanding Michael, huh?
yes. I think that. I recognize it in myself too. Whatever didn't get solved when I was young is still present in all my relationships, almost as worse as bad as it was then.
Yeah.
One fastener another.
In some ways, it gets exaggerated because it's the thing that you really, really need, and you get
Yes,
more and
I
more.
really, really, really want it.
And so it's like Citizen Kane. The thing at the end was Rosebud. He wanted, Rosebud. His whole life was predicated on Rosebud. The sled, Christmas time, the present he didn't get, or whatever it was. Love from his mother.
Well, this is very good. So what I'll do is I'll leave Michael with this, and I'll move over to Greg.
Okay.
Now, Greg,
Take it off my phone here.
when we were testing for these considerations, which ones did you test for?
Time. Time is not on my side. But time is on my side. I have all the time in the world.
Well,
And so, yeah.
I do have to say that you seem to be continually plugged in about time. Like all the time, every time I talk to you, it's like you're,
Yes.
and you seem to use your time in a very dysfunctional way.
Yeah, I don't even use my time. I let it use me. I said, watch with me, time.
Secret America.
Times, fuck me. No, that's not. It's just, this is a public. It's like I want that thing when I was young. It was like timeless. It's summer and it's in the evening and the crickets are, it's just beautiful and I've got no cares in the world, carefree.
By the way, I think we should give our viewers a little more credit than saying this is a public thing, because
I know.
any person crazy enough to watch this is not a member of the public.
And that word that I said was a perfectly usable word. It expressed something that was inexpressible any other way.
Henry Miller certainly thought so.
Yeah.
Okay, please continue about the time thing. Go ahead.
Well, it's like if I just focus on just being here, my father's not going to die. He's just going to, go on effortless, like just the way it was. This was a big blast when I came here and I realized, my father could die at any moment. That was 7 years ago.
Wow.
And so it's like, if I just continue doing this, everything will be fine. My relationship with everybody is fine. I don't have to change anything. We're all talking, it's kind of like I keep this kind of, I stop things and I just sit on them and I'll just let them be there. There are always things to do, but I know I can do them. I have the wherewithal to do it. I have the power to do it. I got plenty of time. It doesn't really matter. My life will go on. It doesn't matter if I, screw up on something. I still go on. Even if I were put in prison, I'd be sitting there in prison. I got all the time in the world sitting here eating this shitty food. And
you would be.
I'd be doing my time. That's how I've experienced it. I'm sitting in this room doing time. Doing my life.
Well, you seem very pressed for time always.
Well, I got time. We can talk.
Great. You have a dry, I love your sense of humor. It's just so...
Yeah. But I know, and the thing is, when I'm really actively, the thing about the dance class was I was not concerned about time. I was fully in it, and I was fully, it's like, that's the thing I like about performing. You have to be there, and you have to be doing it, fully committed.
Mm-hmm.
And the dance class, if I looked around, I saw all these kids, and I had all these considerations about things, and, I'm not that young anymore, but it's like I was back when I, like 30 or 40 years ago. I was in the same class 40 years ago with the same kids. Most of them I don't know any of those people.
You're right.
But I was there doing it because you had to do it, and you had to bring it all together and just be there and on and active. And so it's really humbling and liberating. And it's like to really get things done right now. And I do that for a lot of things, but a lot of things I don't. I just let sit there. And they fester and sit on me, sit on my shoulders. I've not completed the taxes. That's...
Well, test this. Okay. Just say, have I removed my time consideration?
Have I removed my time consideration? I get no.
All right, well then, just now say, I am now removing my time consideration.
I'm now removing my time considerations. I got yes.
And
I keep getting yes. I'm continuing to remove them.
Okay. I have a story to tell you while you are removing them.
I'm sorry, I don't have time. I gotta... Okay, yeah.
We were in Jamaica at that 1993 course where I discovered this.
Yeah.
It was in April, and Victoria Moore, one of our students who was a chiropractor and who knew how to... Basically, we started out by forcing signals with muscle testing.
Yeah.
But I was getting signals, and I think she was too. Anyway, Victoria was, she's seventh dimensional, or I guess she was at the time. Mm-hmm. And she was so very dissatisfied. And she said to me, we walked out by the pool, by the bay. And so we're standing there, we're all by ourselves, it's nighttime, it's like 8 o'clock at night. And the waves are crashing against the side. It was kind of a blowy night, I guess. And she says, Ross, go on mute. Yeah, go on mute. Okay. So she says to me, she says, you never want me to win. Like, why can't you support me in winning? And so I said to her, it's like this proaction I gave Michael about how I forgive my mother and get a signal on it. And we did this muscle test where we tested me that I wasn't committed to her winning, and then we created the commitment in me, partially by whapping my spine. And she was whapping my spine with her fingers, and then we tested my arm again, and I had this commitment to her winning. And the funny thing is, no matter what happened, and no matter what Victoria did ever since then, I have been committed to Victoria Moore winning till now. I mean, and I still am. And there really isn't any reason for me to change it, so I probably never will. But I've spent 20 years, and every time I look or think about her, I always feel this commitment to her winning. So you can remove this time consideration.
Yeah, and it's there. Yeah, there are permanent, undeniable things that just change, and you've got it.
Right.
And it forms your life, and it becomes you. You are it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll just go back to Michael for a minute, because I just had a thought about something. By the way, Michael, could you lower your camera just a bit? Thanks. Okay. I wanted to tell you, I have another share, actually. Did you know that I used to be a shrink?
No.
Well, I was, and the reason that I wasn't able to cure people, and that's why I quit, because I couldn't cure them. It was horrible. See, I started doing it because I was doing primal therapy, and I believed it would cure people. Because John Lennon said it did. So I took his word for it, and I started doing it. But they weren't getting cured, and the reason was, the thing that we just accessed. See, because I used to do talk therapy with my patients, as well as primal. I had this Saturday thing where I saw my patients all day on Saturday with hour sessions, and God, I dreaded it. That's what finally made me quit, is those sessions. I just couldn't stand doing it. But when we did talk therapy, and they would come up with things like you came up with, that your mother blocked you from having relationships and you wanted to get unblocked and so on, and we never actually got to the thing that you got to in a second, in a minute. You got to this thing that, it was, now I'm sort of losing what it was. But anyway, it was her sex and her problem, and we never got to that. We never found it. No matter how much we talked, we could never find it. No matter how much we thought about it, and how many new books I read by new psychoanalysts or new doctors or whatever, or medical papers I read or whatever it was, I could never find those things. I never found any way of finding it.
Well, a lot of what we did back then, I felt like I was actually locking those things inside and validating those horrible things.
Right.
And I realized that after 2 years, I heard those tapes of myself talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
I said, now it's just time to drop it.
Yeah, right.
Forget it.
That's right.
I have a take on this, too.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. There's an element that we bring in here, which is sort of like taking personal responsibility and making a choice, that I can see can get left out of traditional psychotherapy, because I sit in a therapist's office and explore for hours and hours and hours and weeks and months and years about why, but you never get to the place of saying, so are you going to choose to remove that, or are you just going to keep doing that? And so there's something that happens here. So it's happened to me several times where you, like Byron or Greater, where you said to me, so, like what I said, well, for example, I said, I have a resistance to getting on the hub and doing a lesson. And then we explored why a little bit, and it's because I have this resentment about having to be alone when I want interaction. But it became really clear to me that it's my choice. I mean, I can keep refusing to do it, or I can, I can lean upon exploration of why and still keep doing it, or refusing to do what I need to do. What I'm trying to say is one can immerse him or herself endlessly into the exploration of why, and use that as a way of still not making the decision to make the change, to remove the dysfunction.
Sure.
So I'm trying to agree with you and say that what you get to here is you do some exploration of why, but you very quickly get to a place of saying, okay, now you understand what's going on. Are you going to remove it or not? Are you going to keep being dysfunctional, or are you going to remove it? And so like, like we said a couple of weeks ago, it became apparent that I enjoyed my dysfunction. I forgot exactly what it was. I was pissy and withdrawn from people and mad at people, and I was enjoying it, and I didn't want to let go of the dysfunction. And then you said to me, well, are you going to remove it, or you just want to keep on doing it? And so you gave me the choice. And so I think that's what I'm getting at, what you just said. There's this finally you just got to, shit or get off the pot, It's like you're going to keep on exploring your dysfunction, you're just going to remove it already. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. The thing is that they don't know they can remove them.
Right.
And when I was...
Because the therapists are invested in keeping their clients dysfunctional for another 5 years so they can make more money.
Well, I have another...
We did know a guy, after, 15 years, he terminated because he said he couldn't help it anymore.
Well, I can't... Actually, I have another... You see, maybe they can't remove it. Like, I think that sometimes when you get a signal, it's actually the signal is triggering the removal. And that before the signal comes, maybe you couldn't remove it. That somehow, like, looking for the God connection makes the thing like you then connect with God, and God removes it, or you just remove it with, sort of like, because you make the God connection, you become different because you're connected to God rather than being the way you were. By the way, just as I don't know if I ever mentioned this to you before, Michael, but I'm a Meher Baba lover, right?
Yes.
Well, Meher Baba says that you're God. So actually, in some ultimate sense, when you make a God connection, you are connecting to yourself.
Well, that's how I experience it. I don't really believe in God, but it doesn't matter, because the way I experience what you just described is that if I get a signal, that signal is an energy. It's an impulse. It carries energy with it. Mm-hmm. And I can use that signal to remove the dysfunction that the signal is associated with.
Uh-huh. Yeah, maybe that getting the signal is causing the removal.
Right, it's related, yes. It's maybe one and the same.
Now, here's another thing, they're developing a herpes vaccine. Somebody told me this morning. I was talking to this woman this morning, and she said they're developing. It's expected to be out in May, I think. And just imagine how many hundreds of millions of dollars they're spending on the development of that vaccine, and that's the depth of their ignorance to the fact that they can cure the herpes. And it's the same with this. Like the things that I was saying to you didn't actually make sense to you, but you got a test on them. And then after the test came, a few minutes later, you were like understanding them. Because the thing, you know, when the test came, it became real, it became solid. And when it's real, you can see it and understand it. Like if it's this abstract intellectual idea, you may never understand it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, there's a world of knowledge which is not intellectual. It's a different realm. And when you suggest that we test something, we're not testing our intellect. We're testing in that other realm.
Yeah, it's knowingness.
Right.
Knowing is different from believing.
Right.
Like people always ask me if you have to believe in this, and you know, I still don't believe it. It's too crazy. Also, some other things to share is that I actually have the same resistance to testing things that you do. And I think probably everybody does.
I said so.
Yeah, it's like, it's just, you know, you sort of think, well, I don't really need to test this because I know it. You know, so that sort of thing. Or just, like, I don't know, it feels like work. And also I was talking with, I think it was when I was talking with Anna last night, and I was saying that, no, I was talking with Greg, and I was saying that when you make a discovery, there's this dark place that you pass through before you cure it, where you're discovering something really terrible about yourself. I mean, some of the things that I've discovered about myself, like you probably haven't quite reached this pitch yet, but they were like horrifying, you know? I mean, really bad. And so you come through this place, and like a lot of people don't want to pass through that. So they stay on the other side of it. They don't want to test things because they don't want to know them. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't feel that way.
Well, I'll tell you, you know, there was a woman, it was years ago, it was one of the first people I was ever testing with, and she tested the most awful thing that maybe I've ever heard. And like what she tested was that she kept choosing to incarnate with somebody who had murdered and tortured her over and over again. And then she would go back in the next life to that same person. Now talk about loyalty being a consideration. There you get some idea. And in that lifetime, the person was her mother. And she knew her mother had abused her and so on. You know, that wasn't, she didn't have a problem knowing that. The thing that she had a problem knowing was that she had been choosing her mother for centuries. And she freaked out. She never spoke to me again. Anyway, you know, it's tough, you know. What I've learned is to go a little at a time with people with this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think you're scared to test some things, Michael. I think a lot of the people we know are.
I'm actually not scared to test. You know, let there be misunderstanding. That my resistance is to going and reading lessons on the hub because I removed it today, but in the past, before today, I would feel like it was my mother telling me to go be by myself when what I wanted to do was interact with people. So now I removed that. So now I think I can go back to the hub. But actually, I enjoy, and I'm pretty willing to test stuff. I mean, I think it was, to be honest, to pat myself on the back a little bit, I think it was courageous of me to, and a little bit vulnerable for me to test on and share with everybody about my mother.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's a good
Very
activity.
sensitive and very sore, vulnerable place for me, but I did it.
Absolutely.
Right.
And you know, I have a little thing maybe I haven't mentioned to you. Now you can't give anybody your password, but you are welcome to show people the lessons. You know, like if you're out like having coffee with somebody and you just take out your smartphone and you can be with a friend and test with your friend through the hub and do lessons for her or you, and that's fine. There's no it's not an infringement of anything to do that. Okay. So go ahead and do it with people.
Which is why I was triggered last night.
What?
I got really triggered last night at the reason why I wasn't at the prayer meeting.
Why were you triggered last night?
Well, because first, see, I enjoy having people over at my house for the prayer meeting because that gives me this interaction with people that I want.
Mm-hmm.
And Kate, my girlfriend Kate, said, I don't want anyone at the house. This was last night, and the reason is because we have visitors coming today, and she wanted to have a night quiet. So I respected that, and I said, okay. So then I went to Barb, and I said, Barb, let's have it at your place in Santa Fe. And Barb said, okay. And then I thought we were at her place, and then I was going to have a social time of interacting with people. And then Barb, for whatever reason, couldn't do it, and so I was left alone and I experienced it as, oh, my mother isolated me again.
Right.
So you see, so that's, I keep reacting to situations based upon this unresolved thing with my mother. So I need to remove that unreal. It's affecting, it's polluting my assessment and my experience of situations that really have nothing to do with my mother, you see?
So, okay, well, am I over that now?
Yes. Yes.
Well, just remember that, it is good to do this with other people, not just by yourself. Two heads are better than one. And there's no problem with showing people any of the lessons and doing them with other people, whether they have a password or not, okay?
Right.
So, you can enjoy the web college. Well, guys, we have probably 8 minutes left. Is there something that we should cover or that should be said that has not yet been? This will create a good kickoff for people in the curing major considerations. We haven't touched upon God as a major consideration.
No, it's, yeah.
I've had that one too.
I had all of them. Just pick that one.
Well,
I got time too, like Greg, but I didn't get any of the others.
Barb, do you have anything to say about God as a major consideration?
Well, I guess it comes up when I look at my own lifestyle and choices I make, because like traditional ideas of God are usually anti, a lot of what I am or who I am. So sometimes I think that.
I think it's a consideration when people think that like God is responsible for them, or they're looking for God to solve their problem.
Yeah, well, on the positive side of things, I think like I'm, all my bodies are in God and I'm okay and all that kind of stuff. So when I get interfered with on that subject, it's because I think something about myself is not godly, or not behaving in godly ways of the traditional definition.
Well, one thing that should remove God as a major consideration is that a lot of people think that God punishes, harms, and makes people sick, when actually, when we do this, what we find out is that we were making ourselves sick and God is making us well. Like we took on the things that made us sick and God made us well. And so that probably extends to things like prosperity and like, do we notice that we attract prosperity and love and good things to ourselves when we're well and functional? Anybody? Barb, do you notice that?
Yes.
Greg?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on mute. Yeah.
Yeah. Fanny, once you told me that, you were sort of like angry at God for all the negative things that were happening in the world. Fanny?
Yes.
But at the time, I found that strange because it always seemed to me that God was always very good to you.
Oh, I know he has been. Like, I knock on wood, but he's really, come through. He provides. God provides.
Yeah, and it was because you were open to God and were, like your relationship with God was pretty healthy, but you still seemed like you were kind of angry at him. But maybe that's part of having a healthy relationship. It seems to me like you get angry and fight with all the people that you love, so why shouldn't God be one of them, right?
That's right. That's one way of looking at it.
Toe the line.
God needs to toe the line around Franny.
That's right.
Well, I have a few minutes with Ross. Ross, what did you test as your major consideration?
Before the meeting, I wrote on money, and now when you asked what was our major consideration, I tested on loyalty.
Okay, and to whom would that be?
To my brother and sister. And it goes back to when I was a little girl, and my mother told me, you have to take care of your sister because she is more than you. And I remember that pretty well. I was really small, and during my life, I've always taken care of my sister, and then of my brother, because when Andrea was born, I was 16, and I felt I was a little mother to him.
Well, test, have I cured that?
Have I cured that? I guess yes.
Okay. Well then, if you go back to my story about Victoria Moore, maybe you really did cure it, and it's gone.
Yes. And also listening to the other people talking, I was thinking about loyalty and why I had that as a major consideration, and I think I cured it during the meeting.
Wow.
What was the first consideration you were talking about? Rob?
Excuse me, Fanny? Can you say that again?
What was the first consideration you were talking about just a minute ago? I didn't hear it.
The first was money.
Money, okay.
I did that before the meeting.
Test, did I cure that?
Did I cure the money as a major consideration? Yes, I did.
Okay. Wow. Boy, one thing about you, you cure stuff.
That's right. You're like every day you plow away on tweets about everything you did.
You know,
That's what I want to do. I want
That's
to.
right.
I want to really take advantage of these great possibilities that I have to access things on the hub and cure.
well,
That's wonderful.
you know, it's interesting that you say that because, like, in this lifetime, it seems as though we have been given something that we were never given. At least, like, as I look back, you know, now maybe this will just seem like, 1,000 years from now, maybe it'll just seem like another one of the good answers that I got over the centuries, but it seems to me like I am changing in ways that I couldn't change in for eons.
Yeah.
And it really is this major opportunity.
Yes.
So,
That's right.
at the same time, when I read Buddhist texts, I realize that Buddhism is an earlier form of what we're doing, and as effective as this. It's every bit as effective as this, and maybe at least in the mystical aspects of, let's say, Christianity, that's as effective also, and so on. It may just be easier to get into this. Like I'm just going to end with this little thing here. I was reading a book about Zen archery, and the shooting of an arrow is like getting a signal. The archer doesn't shoot the arrow. It's the force that causes our signals that shoots the arrow. It's the same thing. And the thing is, to become a Zen archer, you have to devote your life to it. Like, you have to go study under a teacher and stand for possibly years, day after day, drawing like a 200-pound bow without even having an arrow in it and never releasing it. Like, that's how you get to become a Zen archer. So this is a lot easier because a 4-year-old child can learn it from his mother in 20 minutes and cure a flu with it. And then in the process of that, he connects with the force just like the archer did, without going through all the trouble. So anyway, in summary, considerations are not anything you want to have. Find them and take them out, everybody. And thank you all for a wonderful class. Let's all link our celestial bodies. Yeah, got it?
Yep.
Let me ask a question. Will you be back on solar sign by Thursday?
What about Thursday?
This is the Cure Drive Cult homepage. You can see we tally our cures. That's the tally there, 132,000. You report your cures here, right here. That's the link to report your cure. Okay, this is the movie that people start with generally. And there's a lot of people actually curing things on camera in this movie and demonstrating exactly how to do it. It's 4.5 hours. So you would be able to probably understand and know what these people are doing by watching this. We are a cult because we're all over the world. Maybe one person in a town, just one little guy who cures things in a whole town full of people who don't. Whose spouse thinks she's crazy because she's curing things and he doesn't. She doesn't get sick and he's down with the flu for 5 days and he still thinks she's crazy. We've had spouses die. So this person is demonstrating curing herpes in this movie, the one you're watching right there. And it goes on like that. Now, these are the people here. You see this black area here? This is our Twitter feed. These are the people you want to talk to. And what you do, see, it says follow Cure Drive. And that's what you do. You click on that, and then you pick somebody. Anybody in here will be happy to help you. So you write to people that you see in here. And there's all these people all talking about what they're curing. So that's what you do. You pick somebody that that seems like a kindred spirit, presumably, and you write to them. See that picture of the cat there? That's Rosella. She's one of the people whose spouse died. He was a very great guy. He just thought it was nuts. Never did it. Died of cancer. Not too long ago, about 2 months ago. So anyway, you just, you write to somebody and, tell them what you are trying to do. People are always asking about negative medical tests. Here, let me show you. This is a voicemail message. You should probably, if you're interested in getting a negative medical test on, let's say, herpes, she got negative medical tests and both kinds of herpes. And she left me this message when she got her letter from the, hospital, I guess. She was in New Zealand. So her tests are free. Now, of course, there's an enormous website behind this homepage. I guess you're probably guessing, right? And if you see these movies, these are all people demonstrating curing various diseases. These people chose to contribute their cures to your effort to cure yourself. There are around, I guess, over 800 movies, and some of them are linked to this page. So if you click on any one of these pictures, it will go to a movie and that movie will start playing. So join the cult. Your friends will be worried about you. You're in a cult, they'll be worried. You have the crazy idea that you can cure medically incurable diseases. They're going to be very concerned. Especially if you're battling cancer. Your friends will be worried, and that's a good thing. You will cure things. And that is also a very good thing. You will begin curing things the moment you join, because that's how you join. You cure something. When you cure something, you're in the cult. If you want to get out of the cult, just stop curing things. You won't be in the cult anymore. Easy to exit. Your easy exit strategy. And who knows? You may even cure the medically incurable disease that you came in here to cure. A lot of us did. That's me there in the movie holding forth on how to cure things. I'm on the cure team. That's what I did. I cured a medically incurable disease. Two of them actually. So I cured 2 kinds of herpes. It was about 4 months after I started doing this that I actually discovered, I'm the person who discovered that you could cure physical diseases. July 1993, my 20th anniversary just passed. I haven't had an outbreak of herpes for 20 years, and before that I was having outbreaks for 28 years. I got herpes in 1965. The end of the year. 28 years of outbreaks followed by 20 years of no outbreaks. That's how bad it can be and how good it can be if you let it be good. So, take the courageous step that almost everyone you know will advise you not to take. Join the cult. When you're in the cult, your friends will get sick and you will get well. Your friends will give sympathy and you will give cure. And you'll know that you don't even need to take a vitamin pill to cure something. You can just cure it with nothing. Just with you. What can you contribute? What will your contribution be? This woman is curing a flu right on camera. She came in with full symptoms and they were all gone in 15 minutes. You can see it happen. Flu is an incurable viral-based disease. It's medically incurable. She cures it right in front of you. We eagerly await your contribution. And here they are, eagerly awaiting your contribution. And anything that you say to any of these people will probably be a contribution of some kind.